Hello, welcome back to the Healthy Doubt blog on the Common Sense channel. Today's topic is two hands, and we are going to go very deep with this, deeper than you've probably ever gone before, but we will start absolutely shallow. So, to begin with, let us just confirm that you have two hands. You have one left hand, you have one right hand. Fair enough? Now, what will happen if you go to the gym and you start working out only one hand? Regularly, you do this. You work out one hand, you do your bicep curls, you do your tricep extensions, but you do it only on one hand. You completely ignore the other hand. You do this for months together. What will happen? Just think about it. What will happen is that you will start looking something like this, where one hand is strong and the other is weak. Now, if you become like this, what will happen? Naturally, you will start doing everything with this hand because this is now strong. So you eat with this hand, you drink with this hand, you lift something with this hand, you wave with this hand, and so on and so on. If you keep doing this for some time, you will soon forget about the other hand completely. You will begin to see yourself as having only one arm. In fact, even if you see someone else doing something with the other hand, it looks strange, especially if the whole world is doing something with only one hand. If the whole world has been trained this way, everyone is considered as having only one arm. In such a world, even if someone does something with the other hand, it looks absurd. It looks very strange that this fellow is lifting things with the right hand instead of the left hand. Can you imagine how that is something that could play out? Okay, now let us keep this conversation about the one built up arm to one side, and let me tell you about this movie that I watched. This is a Malayalam movie called Brahma Yugam. It's a horror movie, but I want to show you something else about this movie. This movie shows a situation in the 17th century where a man has to cross a forest and a river, which I guess it's a relatable thing in the 17th century. Now, in this time that they have shown, 17th century means 1600 to 1699 AD, which is around 300 to 400 years ago. In this time, this man has to cross a forest and a river. One thing you must understand about a forest is that it is usually dark. Even in the daytime, it is dark because, or many parts of it will be dark because the sunlight will not filter through the canopy of trees. And there are always going to be wild animals. There are going to be scorpions, there are going to be snakes, there's going to be all sorts of creepy crawlies. So, at this time, in this age, 17th century, uh, belief is very important. Without faith, without belief, without an idea in your head that God will protect you from all harm, you cannot cross this kind of forest or river. Why is that? Because imagine you're having a bad day. That day, your belief is not so strong. And in a jungle, every vine, every creeper will look like a snake. If your belief is strong, the reverse will take place. Even a snake will look like a vine or a creeper. Usually, you may not get bitten, but if your belief is strong, even a snake will appear like a vine. And if your belief is weak, even a creeper or vine will appear like a snake. So, having faith and not having faith can be the difference between being able to complete your tasks and being unable to complete them. And in that way, having faith and not having faith is also the difference between life and death. Crossing a river is the same thing. traveling between cities is also the same thing. So, at this age, I want you to try to put yourself in this age. Faith is extremely important in this age. Now, how does your mind work and play into everything you do? That there. Let me try to get my pen for this part. So, everything you do in this world, every action, it is first a thought in your head. Okay, so fair enough. Everything that you do will result from a thought in your head. Now, this thought in your head is based on a concept that you have. The concept will either be based on belief or will be based on knowledge, one of the two things. If it is based on belief, it comes from a certain amount of faith in something. And if it is based on knowledge, it comes from a certain pattern of studying reality. We call this science. In that way, these are the two arms or the two hands that you lift everything in this universe with. There is this faith arm and there is this science arm. But you never lift with both the hands together. Think about this. It's a very profound thing. These are the two basic roots, the two origins of everything that you can think. Like you may think about this science or intelligence arm at work, but if something goes wrong, suddenly, say your boss is angry with you, you may suddenly switch to the faith arm and start praying to God to save you. In this way, one of these two arms will always be active in your mind, but both of them will not be active together. Now, this is probably, sorry, let me just fix that. Now, this is probably how a man was 400 years ago, and this is how he is now. Do you realize how much progress and development has happened since 400 years? How much water has flown under the bridge, so to speak? Guess which arm is involved in all of this progress? It is the right side. It is this arm, the science, seeing, logic, intelligence arm. This is responsible for all progress that has taken place. This kind of man on the right side that you and I are instantly knows which snakes are poisonous and which are non-poisonous. You can do a Google search. You can come to know instantly. This type of man who is 400 years ago, the one above, this one has to simply run away if he sees any snake. The man on the right, this kind of man can go for a walk in a safe environment where nothing will happen to him. The kind of man 400 years ago cannot think of doing that without God's blessings. Do you realize how important faith is and how insignificant it has become now? This is not to sort of reduce the importance of faith in your life. This is just to point out, do you know how important faith is here and how unimportant it is in this picture? So, coming back to these two types of arms, what's the point of telling you all this? What if I told you that everything that you lift with this arm here, let me get my pen again, everything that you lift with this arm can also be lifted with this arm? So let me tell you about this aspect of your mind and how it works. These are both aspects of your mind after all. All my books are a way to lift the universe with this hand, the right side. Why should we try to lift with this hand? Because it has already been lifted with the left hand. That's what religion is. It is an answer to the enigma of this universe, and you lift it with faith, belief, and emotion. And what is science? Science is another answer to the enigma of this universe, and you lift it with seeing, logic, and intelligence. But what is intelligence? It is a slower, quieter thing. It whispers and does not scream. It shows you things in a different way. Of course, you can read more about it in my book, Mind and Intelligence. But know this type of man, the one 400 years ago, dreamt of going to heaven. And this type of man, the type that you and I are now, is already in heaven. Are you seeing it? Let me try to explain this to you in another way. This arm, this arm, the faith arm, is like a desire to walk from one end of a train compartment to the other because you believe that this is where your destiny is. Your whole life you spend trying to walk this distance from one end of the train compartment to another end of the train compartment. But this arm, the intelligence arm, this is like opening the window of the train and looking outside. Have you seen where we have come? Behold this paradox that science moves in small baby steps. But the way it moves, one day you find that it has taken a huge leap that you could not imagine. That is why I say the man in 17th century wanted to get to heaven, but you are in heaven. Because his physical reality was a mess. His idea of heaven was where this physical reality was taken care of and the pleasures were maximized. Today, you and I are already in that kind of heaven. So, our journey will always begin there. That arm which you had forgotten about, you believe that we had become a race of one armed people. That arm is showing signs of life again. Do you want to know what it looks like when you try to lift this universe with this other arm, the intelligence arm? All my ebooks, I recently changed this cover on the download ebooks by Abhinav Kumar Facebook page, Facebook group, sorry. And so to include the Mind and Intelligence book. So all my ebooks are an effort to lift the universe with this arm, the right arm, the intelligence arm. Why did I try to lift the universe with this arm? Because at the end of the day, I'm a scientist and I like to have concrete answers. Concrete answers means things need to be absolutely sure. Absolutely sure means it has to be based on logic. So I write these books. I call them picture books for adults. You can download the ebooks for free. Hope you enjoy reading. Thank you.